Yeah, they've actually done some of that in the past. I think it was the Wetlands Act back in the 90s, and there was a big rain in somebody's ranch or something, and it formed a little pond, and the government came in and took over this guy's land because there was a pond on his land now. There's been so many ridiculous things. The Endangered Species Act has caused a lot of stupidity from Washington, D.C. The EPA has done a lot of stupid things in the name of supposedly protecting our environment. Cost a lot of jobs. If you want to see where most jobs have been lost in this country in the last 20 years, put it right at the doorstep of the EPA. And the Wetlands Act, and now that they think they own all the water, Governor Symington back in the 90s also showed the federal government when they couldn't balance their budget, and there was no budget for a while when Bill Clinton was in office. Well, Governor Symington said, well, fine, we don't need you guys. We'll run our own Grand Canyon. It's ours anyway. We don't need you guys running our Grand Canyon. Well, it's the same principle. The governors of this state, of every individual state, and then the sheriffs and county boards of commission and board of supervisors need to let the federal government know, you don't own the water in this state. This is a sovereign state. We are in charge within the borders of this state. We are in charge, not you. The states created you. You do not supersede the creator. The federal government didn't even exist when we started the Revolutionary War. It was formed afterwards. So when we fought for freedom, it was for state sovereignty, not for a strong central government. One place where Alexander Hamilton was wrong. The 10th Amendment is the basis of my lawsuit. The 10th Amendment is where it guarantees the power and sovereignty to the states or to the people, which also shows the power the people have. And to paraphrase the 10th Amendment, this is really what the 10th Amendment says. It's the founding fathers telling all future generations of government, especially in Washington, D.C., that just in case you want to get really creative, or if you think we forgot something, you can't do that either. That's the 10th Amendment. Well, usually you can be certain if Washington, D.C.'s passed another law, it's going to cost taxes and jobs. And then they'll turn around and create a welfare state for those people to collect more benefits and entitlements. It's absolutely amazing that the icon of the Democratic Party was John F. Kennedy, and he said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Anybody remember that principle? Anywhere in government, show me a Democrat. And a Republican for that matter in Washington, D.C. that believes that principle. Government is not here to take care of us. Government is here to protect our borders. Oh man, they've done a bang-up job there. But no, it's so off. It's so opposite of what it was intended to be that it's absolutely scary. Well, first of all, he has the duty to protect the businesses that are offering alternative health to citizens. Those businesses have a right to exist. Let me, for the record, make this very clear. I use them. Right now, if you look at the evidence, doctors killed by making mistakes of prescriptions and other mistakes, about 125,000 people a year. Guns supposedly are only involved in about 20,000 such deaths. Why aren't we registering doctors or going after doctors? But no, we've actually strengthened the FDA and given the FDA more power, and they don't have any power to begin with, but they keep stealing it and usurping it. But they're actually going after some of these herbal companies or whole food companies. Most of these alternative supposed medications are simply whole foods. They're just concentrated. And I use them all the time, and so does my wife and family. And we will continue to do so. And for anyone to say that these companies should be shut down so that we can have more chemotherapy and more drugs shoved down our throat, like Prozac and Zoloft and all these other things that are destroying our children, is ridiculous. The sheriff is not a puppet for the courts or for the legislatures. He is his own boss. Again, who does he report to? He reports to the people. And he has to weigh that above all other elected officials or public officials who are going after a citizen in his county. Doesn't matter if it's the IRS or a judge or whatever. The judge cannot expect and should not expect the sheriff to go along with an unconstitutional order. In fact, no one, not the military or law enforcement, can be held accountable for disobeying an unlawful order. Oath Keepers! Yeah, Oath Keepers has been around for only about 2 or 3 months, and I got to know Stuart Rhodes and Dave Freeman with Oath Keepers, and the relationship that we have is an obvious one and an easy one. I've been preaching about the oath of office for about 20 years, and now they've made it a national campaign. And I'll tell you what, when I was in Lexington and we had the oath ceremony where we all, about a crowd of about 400 citizens, law enforcement, retired military, current military, all of us joining together, raising our arms and taking an oath, or retaking or reaffirming our oaths to uphold and defend the United States Constitution. I'll tell you what, it brought a tear to my eye. It was one of the most powerful moments I've ever participated in. You know, you can't contract out what the Army is supposed to do and what they're constitutionally supposed to be doing to protect, and then you kind of give carte blanche to a private company to do that which the military is supposed to be doing. You know, that really puts the government and the military in a precarious position, and we have seen what happens when you do that. Who do these people, a private company, who do they report to? You know, who's their boss? If they violate their contract, who's responsible? The government or that company? Or, you know, we get mad at them, or what do we do to them? Fire them, stop the contract, take the money back, sue them? All that stuff's not part of a military operation. It's the same thing with Andrews International or anybody else. They can work for private companies, but they shouldn't be hired by government. You know, they're a private company. Their allegiance is not to the American people or to the Constitution. Their allegiance is to make money. They're a private company, and I don't mind companies making money. I totally support the capitalist society that we're supposed to have. Capitalism works a lot better than socialism or communism. Well, I think the ultimate protection that the sheriff will give his people is from other government agencies that want to run roughshod over his people in his county. We saw what happened in Ruby Ridge, Idaho. We saw what happened in Waco when sheriffs stand back and trust the federal government. The federal government doesn't have a very good track record. The IRS has a horrible track record. So, you know, the last thing you want to do is trust government. In fact, Patrick Henry warned us that we should never trust government officials, but shackle them down with the parameters and chains of the Constitution, as he said. And Thomas Jefferson said that the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. And that's the ones that are supposed to be careful are us, we, the people. It's our government, it's what we do, this is us. And so we have got to be really careful. And the sheriff is the ultimate protector, again, of the people, to protect them from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. Doesn't matter where they come from. Okay? They come from Washington, D.C. or the State House or whatever. And so martial law and all this, the sheriff, if he's organized enough and has his posse ready to go, his armed posse ready to go anywhere in this country, then FEMA and those from the federal government who want to institute martial law, they can tell him, go somewhere else. There's not going to be enough manpower to do all this anyway. If they want to do martial law from Hawaii to Bangor, Maine, there's absolutely not enough manpower. It has to be local people. So the sheriffs are going to be asked to be part of the martial law. And the sheriffs can say, no thanks, go somewhere else. We don't need you here. We've got it under control. The sheriffs really have got to exercise some real leadership and planning on that one.